Right now, at this exact moment, you're facing a choice. You can keep doing what you've always done, grinding away, climbing higher, achieving more, while something inside you slowly withers. Or you can finally acknowledge the truth that's been scratching at your consciousness. Your job is growing, but you're not. You're stagnant, you're fading, and deep down, you know it. Every single day, you answer emails, hit deadlines, satisfy everyone but yourself. You exchange your energy, your passion, your presence for a paycheck that never quite feels like enough. And when the sun sets, you collapse into bed hollow and spent. Not because you didn't work hard, you did, but because you didn't grow. This isn't a gentle suggestion, this is your wake-up call. You deserve to feel yourself expanding, not just your bank account, but your confidence, your mental clarity, your capability. You deserve to walk into each day as someone who's becoming greater than they were yesterday. That transformation starts now, and this is how. Chapter 1. Choose growth over fear. Fear is the assassin of potential. It whispers lies in the dark. What if you fail? What if they judge you? What if you lose what you've worked for? That voice, you know it intimately. It's the weight on your chest when you're about to do something significant. It's the doubt that paralyzes you at the threshold of change. Here's what most people never realize. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's a GPS signal pointing directly toward growth. Every person who's ever built something extraordinary has felt that same trembling. They didn't move because they were fearless. They moved despite the fear. And each time they did, fear lost a little more power. The world will try to convince you that safety is the goal. Stay comfortable, keep what you know, don't rock the boat. But safety is just a beautiful cage, and you're slowly rusting inside it. Real living begins the moment you decide that your future matters more than your comfort. When you choose growth, you stop asking the question that destroys dreams, what if I fail? You start asking the question that ignites them, what if I never try? That question stings because you already know the answer. Regret is a heavier burden than any failure could ever be. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel afraid. Courage means you feel the fear, acknowledge it, and take the next step anyway. It means you do the thing that stretches you, the conversation that makes your heart race, the skill that frustrates you, the project that might not work. It means you build your confidence not through avoiding difficulty, but by walking straight through it. When you face what scares you, it shrinks. When you run from it, it multiplies. The moment you choose growth over safety, you become powerful. Not because you're special, but because you're willing, and willingness changes everything. Chapter 2. Train your mind to hunger for progress. Motivation is a liar. It comes and goes like weather patterns, unreliable and fickle. You can't build your life on something that disappears when the clouds roll in. But discipline is a fortress. It's the quiet decision to move forward even when inspiration has abandoned you. Here's the brutal truth most people miss. Your mind is like a hungry animal. If you feed it excuses, it will become an expert at finding them. If you feed it progress, it will become obsessed with achieving it. Every single day, you're either strengthening the habit of growth or strengthening the habit of delay. There is no neutral ground. Your mind doesn't naturally crave growth, it craves ease. It wants to finish the day and call it done. But growth demands more. It asks you to reflect after you achieve, to learn from your results, to stay aware after you act. The discomfort that creates is precisely where transformation lives. The magic begins when you train your brain to associate effort with reward, when small wins become addictive, when progress becomes the drug you can't live without. Start with something simple.
Commit to 1% better every single day. In one area, your fitness, your mind, your skills, your communication. 1%, that's all. Track it, notice it, make it non-negotiable. When your brain experiences the rush of consistent improvement, it will start hunting for that feeling everywhere. This is how you stop depending on motivation and start depending on momentum. Most people wait for the perfect day when they finally feel inspired. That day never comes. The people who transform the world don't wait. They show up tired, they act uninspired, they move forward anyway. And somewhere around the 100th time doing this, the feeling follows the action. Your mind catches up, your heart gets involved. Suddenly, you're unstoppable. The person who runs every morning even when they want to sleep in is not special. They're just deliberate. They've made a non-negotiable date with their own becoming. When you train your mind to hunger for progress, everything shifts. You start getting uncomfortable when you waste a day. You start craving challenge. You prefer effort to ease. That's when you know you fundamentally rewired yourself. You're no longer a person doing growth. You're a person of growth. Chapter 3. Dismantle the patterns that keep you trapped. Feeling stuck is insidious. It doesn't scream, it whispers. You're going through the motions, working, paying bills, maintaining relationships, but inside, you're standing still. There's this creeping frustration that grows quieter the longer it festers, but heavier with each passing day. You know you're capable of more, yet something invisible keeps you locked in place. That invisible force is called pattern. The thoughts you habitually repeat, the routines you've never questioned, the beliefs you've accepted as truth. These aren't just habits, they're invisible walls, and they've been containing your potential your entire life. The first escape requires unflinching honesty. What am I doing every day that keeps me exactly where I am? Maybe you stay silent when you should speak up. Maybe you say yes to things that drain your spirit. Maybe you spend your time around people who keep you small. These aren't random choices, they're patterns, reinforced through repetition until they feel like destiny. Breaking patterns is uncomfortable. Your mind will fight you because comfort is familiar and familiar feels safe. But that resistance isn't a sign you're wrong, it's proof you're disrupting a system that no longer serves you. To break free, you must be willing to feel awkward, to try things that make you uncertain, to sit in the discomfort long enough for your nervous system to realize it's not life-threatening, it's just growth. One of the most vicious patterns is comfort itself. It's seductive. It promises peace while slowly stealing your future.
The longer you stay comfortable, the heavier you become. That's why you must make discomfort your ally. Intentionally challenge yourself. Pursue things that intimidate you. Do this enough times and your mind recalibrates. Discomfort becomes normal. It stops being a barrier and starts being a doorway. Another pattern that entraps millions is self-doubt. That voice that says you're not ready yet, not good enough yet, not experienced enough yet. But that's not reality. That's just a recording you've played so many times it sounds like truth. Break that pattern by arguing back. When your mind says, I can't, respond with, I'll learn how. When it says, I'm not ready, act anyway. Courage isn't the absence of doubt, it's action in the presence of it. Your environment shapes your patterns too. Humans are mirrors. We reflect what surrounds us. If you're surrounded by people who settle, complain, and make excuses, their smallness becomes contagious. To evolve, you must step into new spaces and find new people. People who challenge your limits. People who talk about possibilities instead of problems. Their energy will begin to reshape yours. The emotional patterns that trap you deserve attention as well. Do you always respond to criticism with defensiveness? Do you avoid conflict at all costs? Do you shrink when it's time to be seen? These patterns protect your ego but strangle your growth. Notice them. Pause before you react. Ask yourself, is this reaction helping me evolve or keeping me stuck? That pause is where your power lives. Sometimes the pattern isn't what you're doing, it's what you're not doing. Waiting for clarity, waiting for the right moment, waiting for permission. These are just forms of delay wearing a disguise. Action creates clarity. Movement brings understanding. Start small. Take one concrete step in the direction you've been avoiding. The moment you move, momentum ignites. Evolving isn't about rejecting everything you've done. It's about separating what's serving you from what's slowly suffocating you. Examine your life with brutal honesty. What gives you energy? What drains it? What adds value? What keeps you stuck? Replace one unhelpful habit at a time. Not everything at once, that overwhelms the system. Real change compounds gradually, but lasts because it's built on awareness, not impulse. You have the right to evolve. The world will judge you for changing. Let it. The people meant for your future will celebrate your growth. Everyone else is just a chapter you're learning to close. Chapter 4. Build unshakable self-respect through daily wins. Self-respect isn't earned in grand moments. It's built in the quiet moments no one ever sees. It's the promise you keep to yourself when no one's watching. It's choosing growth over comfort at 5 a.m. when your bed is still warm. It's the small victory of finishing what you started even when you're exhausted. Every single one of these moments is a deposit into your self-trust account. And every time you break a promise to yourself, it's a withdrawal. This is the foundation of everything. Without respect for yourself, no achievement will feel like enough. With it, nothing can break you. Most people wait for massive achievements to feel proud. They hunger for promotions, recognition, applause. But real self-respect comes from something far quieter and infinitely more powerful: discipline. It comes from the unglamorous daily tasks that no one applauds. It comes from waking early, from completing the workout even though your body protests, from choosing learning over scrolling, from saying no when saying yes would be easier. These tiny wins don't look impressive, but they're reshaping who you are at the cellular level. Your mind keeps score. It knows when you're avoiding what matters. It also knows when you show up. Each time your actions align with your values, you strengthen the bridge between who you want to be and who you actually are. That alignment creates magnetic self-respect. Small daily wins seem insignificant until you realize they compound. It's like brushing your teeth. No single brushing feels like an achievement, but the consistency keeps your foundation intact. The same principle applies to your character. Small acts of discipline protect your integrity. They teach your brain, I can trust myself, I follow through, I'm reliable. When your word to yourself stops meaning something, your confidence collapses. To rebuild it, you return to the small stuff. You prove yourself right one action at a time. Make your bed. Finish the task. Stick to the commitment. These aren't trivial. They're the building blocks of unshakable belief. Completion is its own reward. It teaches your mind that you can finish what you start. That momentum then rolls into bigger challenges. Each small win sends a message to your nervous system: you're capable. Progress doesn't require perfection. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. You just need to do one thing right each day. Drink more water. Take a walk, study for 20 minutes, write down your goals. Each win is a stepping stone. The power lies in accumulation. 10 days of consistency reshape how you feel about yourself more deeply than 10 bursts of inspiration ever could. Your relationship with yourself is built exactly like relationships with others, through honesty and follow-through. When a friend keeps showing up, you trust them more. When you keep showing up for yourself, self-respect grows. Every completed commitment strengthens the bond with your own mind. That confidence is irreplaceable. No one can give it to you, no one can take it away. Small wins also rewire your brain chemically. Completion releases satisfaction. Your brain learns effort equals reward. The more you experience this cycle, the more your brain craves it. You stop waiting for motivation. You become addicted to improvement. If you've lost respect for yourself, you can start rebuilding today. Choose one small habit. Commit to it daily for a week. Wake 10 minutes earlier. Write one page. Break one negative habit. Notice how you feel when you follow through. That feeling is self-respect returning. It's the quiet realization that discipline is possible for you again. Self-respect doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need applause. It's the private certainty that you're being honest with yourself, that you're showing up, that you're becoming the person you promised to be. No one needs to know. You do. And that's everything. When you build self-respect through daily wins, your standards rise naturally. You stop tolerating laziness from yourself. You stop making excuses. You stop blaming circumstances. You take ownership. This shift in mindset ripples through every area of your life. Your posture changes. Your voice becomes steadier. Your decisions become bolder. Chapter 5. Outgrow environments that confine your expansion. There comes a moment when you realize the place you're in no longer matches the person you're becoming.
Protecting your peace doesn't mean you stop caring about your work. It means you stop letting work consume your life. You can be ambitious and centered at the same time. In fact, the most accomplished people protect their energy ferociously. They understand something critical. You can't pour from an empty cup. Peace begins with boundaries. Without them, everything becomes urgent, and you lose control of your own time. Set clear limits on what work gets from you. Don't check messages at every hour. Don't let unfinished tasks invade your personal space. Learn to say no without guilt. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're survival. They communicate to others how to treat your time, and they teach you to respect your own well-being. Many people fear slowing down because they believe it means falling behind. But running endlessly without recovery doesn't move you forward, it moves you toward collapse. You can't think clearly when you're exhausted. You can't grow when you're constantly reacting to crisis. When you make peace your priority, decision-making improves dramatically. You see situations from clarity instead of stress. Wisdom comes from stillness, not speed. Job pressure often feeds on fear. Fear of losing your position, fear of disappointing others, fear of not being enough. That fear makes you overcommit, overgive, and ignore your health. Fear-based work is never sustainable. It erodes your confidence and steals your joy. The truth is raw. No job will ever give you lasting peace. Peace is something you create through how you manage yourself. It starts with a non-negotiable commitment. Your mental and emotional health come first. Everything else is secondary. You don't have to respond to every email immediately. You don't have to say yes to every request. You don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. Real professionalism isn't about being constantly available. It's about being consistently effective. You perform better when you're rested, centered, and focused. Peace improves your output. There's a profound difference between working hard and working endlessly. Working hard is purposeful. It's focused effort toward meaningful goals. Working endlessly is survival mode. It's when your identity gets tangled with your workload. You start believing that the more you sacrifice, the more valuable you become. But that belief is toxic. It turns your job into your identity and your exhaustion into a badge of honor. You're not defined by your output. You're defined by how fully you live while producing it. Your body always tells the truth. The tight shoulders, the endless fatigue, the tension headaches, the racing thoughts, these aren't random. They're signals that something's breaking. Listen early. Your nervous system knows when it's overwhelmed, even if your mind denies it. Prevention beats crisis recovery every time. You can't wait for your job to slow down to find peace. You have to create moments of stillness within the chaos. Take short breathing breaks. Step outside and feel the sun. Disconnect completely after work. Build evening rituals that help your mind unwind. Peace isn't found in grand vacations. It's built through small daily moments of stillness that remind you that you're more than your role. People think choosing peace means abandoning ambition. That's a lie. Peace is what makes ambition sustainable. When your mind is calm, you think long-term. You plan better. You avoid mistakes born from stress and ego. You work smarter. Ambition without peace becomes obsession. Ambition with peace becomes mastery. One destroys you, the other builds a legacy.
When you prioritize peace, success gets redefined. You stop measuring it by how busy you are. You start measuring it by how fulfilled you feel. You begin seeing that a good life isn't one of constant motion, it's one of balance, moments with loved ones, time for reflection, energy for what truly matters. A peaceful life doesn't mean an easy one, it means a life where you choose what deserves your energy. If your job dominates your thoughts constantly, create separation, leave work at work. When the day ends, truly let it end. Train your mind to shift focus when you step out the door. The world outside work needs you, your family, your health, your passions. Those areas give meaning that work never can. When you nurture life outside work, you perform better inside it. Sometimes peace requires difficult decisions. It might mean declining opportunities that demand too much. It might mean setting boundaries with difficult people or completely reimagining your career. These choices aren't easy, but they're necessary. No title, no salary is worth losing your peace of mind. Remember that pressure often comes from within. You create unnecessary stress by chasing perfection, trying to please everyone, or setting unrealistic standards. The more you hunt for approval, the less peace you have. Practice self-compassion. Allow yourself to be human. You can strive for excellence without self-punishment. Give your best effort, then rest knowing that's enough. When you protect your peace, others might misinterpret it. They might see it as a lack of dedication, but over time, they'll notice the difference. They'll see your calm presence, the clarity in your work, the strength in your decisions. You'll become an example of someone who succeeds without self-destruction. That quiet confidence is more powerful than any external validation. A peaceful person works with precision. They handle challenges without panic. They make decisions without desperation. They know when to push, when to pause, when to recover. Peace gives perspective. It reminds you that your job is just one part of life, not the whole of it. From that lens, stress loses its power. Peace will cost you certain things: your people-pleasing habit, your overthinking, your addiction to constant doing. But what you gain is immeasurable: mental stability, emotional balance, and the ability to live with quiet confidence. Peace isn't weakness, it's strength under control. It's facing pressure without losing yourself in it. At the end of each day, your mind deserves rest. Your heart deserves stillness. You don't need to earn peace by achieving something extraordinary. You just need to give yourself permission. When peace becomes your priority, you realize that calm isn't boring, it's powerful. It gives you control, focus, and happiness that outlasts any job reward. So work hard, yes. Meet your responsibilities, absolutely, but not at the cost of your sanity. Guard the part of you that dreams, laughs, and breathes freely, because when your peace is intact, you don't just perform better, you live infinitely better. Chapter 7. Strength through discipline. There are days when motivation flows. You wake up fired up, ideas come naturally, progress feels effortless. Then there are the other days, the ones where getting out of bed requires heroic effort, where energy has disappeared completely, and where nothing inside feels inspired.
Those dark days are where character is forged. Growth isn't built on how you act when you're motivated. It's built on how you act when motivation has completely abandoned you. Discipline is the bridge that connects your goals to your results. Motivation is emotional and fickle. Discipline is intentional and unbreakable. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline depends on what you've decided. If you rely on motivation, you'll only act when conditions feel perfect, but life rarely provides perfect conditions. Discipline is the system that works even when conditions are terrible. It's the ability to act according to your values, not your feelings. Discipline doesn't mean punishing yourself harshly. It means training your mind to understand that delayed gratification pays dividends that instant comfort never could. It's the quiet voice that says, "Do it anyway." It's showing up tired, distracted, or uninspired and still putting in effort. You don't need perfection, you just need to keep showing up. Motivation will always fluctuate. Some days you'll feel unstoppable.
Other days, you'll want to quit. That's completely normal. The mistake people make is assuming those low days mean something's broken. Nothing's broken. You're just human. The difference between those who reach their potential and those who don't isn't about motivation. It's about who keeps going when the spark fades. Discipline is built through repetition. Every time you act despite not wanting to, you teach your brain that emotions don't control you. You separate decision from feeling. That separation is where power lives. When you start relying on structure instead of emotion, consistency becomes automatic. And consistency, even small, creates results that motivation alone can never match. Discipline is difficult because it lacks the immediate rush that motivation provides. Motivation gives you an adrenaline hit. Discipline gives you results. Your mind craves novelty, but growth demands stability. You have to learn to find satisfaction in the process itself, not just the outcome. When the process becomes rewarding, you stop needing external motivation to appear. Lower the resistance between intention and action. The longer you wait, the weaker your drive becomes. Start before you feel ready. Do something small to build momentum. Don't feel like working out? Put on your shoes and go outside. Don't feel like creating? Open your notebook and write one sentence. Action creates energy. Once you begin, the mind catches up. Discipline grows stronger through structure. Build systems that make right actions easier and wrong actions harder. Set specific times for important habits. Remove distractions that tempt you to quit. Maintain an organized environment. The less energy you waste deciding, the more energy you have for doing. Discipline thrives in clarity. Chaos weakens it. Accountability amplifies discipline. When someone expects progress from you, even if it's your future self, you're more likely to follow through. Write your goals down and review them daily. Each time you follow through, you strengthen self-trust. Each time you abandon ship early, you weaken it. Make your word mean something again. On low motivation days, your mind negotiates. It says you deserve a break. It says you can start tomorrow. This is where awareness becomes critical. Recognize these thoughts for what they are. Comfort talking. Comfort isn't your ally when you're trying to grow. It convinces you to stop just when you're about to break through. The cure is action. Don't debate with excuses. Outwork them. Discipline isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. When motivation fades, simplify your focus. Conquer one meaningful task. That single win sends a signal to your brain that you're still moving. Momentum returns. That's all you need. Over time, discipline creates emotional stability. You stop being controlled by moods. You don't need inspiration to make progress anymore. You build quiet confidence, the kind that says, "I'll get it done regardless." That's the mindset of long-term winners. They don't rely on temporary bursts of energy. They rely on consistent effort. They know that doing what's necessary eventually creates the life they want. Discipline doesn't always feel good in the moment. It's often uncomfortable, repetitive, and unglamorous. But every time you choose discipline, you choose growth. Every repetition builds resilience. Every consistent effort creates strength. It's the invisible work behind every visible achievement. When you look at anyone successful, you're really seeing thousands of disciplined moments when they didn't quit. When you build discipline, you start viewing effort differently. You stop seeing it as punishment. You start seeing it as power. Each time you push through resistance, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. That realization changes everything. It builds pride. It gives you control over your life. You no longer wait for the right time. You create it. You no longer wait for permission. You act. Motivation starts the race. Discipline finishes it. Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the fire that never stops burning. Most people quit when the spark fades because they never learned to build the fire. You build it through small, consistent acts of follow-through.
Even when the results aren't immediate, the act itself builds strength. The longer you practice, the less you depend on fleeting energy. Rest is also part of discipline. It's not about pushing yourself mercilessly. It's about managing yourself intelligently. Rest when needed, not from avoidance, but from respect for your limits. A disciplined person knows how to recharge with purpose, not procrastinate with guilt. They understand that recovery fuels consistency. Without balance, discipline becomes torture. With balance, it becomes mastery. As discipline grows, confidence expands. You start trusting your ability to follow through. You stop doubting your capacity. You become reliable in your own eyes. That's liberation. It means no matter how you feel, you can count on yourself to take the next step. Progress sometimes feels invisible. You're putting in effort without seeing results yet. That's when most people quit. But those invisible moments are where transformation lives. Discipline is like planting seeds. You don't see growth every day, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening. Keep watering your habits. One day, results will appear, reflecting every effort you made in the dark. A disciplined person isn't perfect, they're simply committed. They don't wait to feel ready. They understand that showing up, especially on days when inspiration is nowhere to be found, is what builds real strength. Discipline is honoring the promise you made to yourself, even when it's hard. Each time you honor that promise, you reinforce the foundation of everything you'll build.
Motivation is temporary. Discipline endures. Motivation fades with mood and circumstance. Discipline stays when excitement is gone. When the journey feels endless, when results are nowhere near, it's the force that keeps you grounded. Strengthen it daily. Feed it through routine, action, and purpose. Because in the end, the people who win aren't the most motivated, they're the most consistent. Chapter Gate. Replace external validation with unshakable self-belief. From childhood, you've been programmed to seek approval from others. Parents, teachers, bosses, friends, strangers online. You learned early that your worth gets measured by how others respond to you. You started depending on compliments, attention, and recognition to feel worthy. At first it felt good, then it became a trap. Because once your confidence depends on external validation, you've handed your peace, your mood, and your purpose to other people's opinions. You're no longer in control. The antidote is deep self-belief. Not the arrogant kind that doesn't listen, the quiet kind that knows who you are and what you stand for, even when nobody else sees it yet. It's the ability to keep moving when approval is absent. It's the understanding that your worth isn't up for vote. People addicted to validation need constant reassurance. People with real self-belief create their own approval through action, discipline, and honesty. They don't chase attention, they attract respect by being authentic. The need for validation comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of never being enough. When you live for approval, you reshape yourself to please others instead of becoming who you truly are. You hold back opinions, you shrink your personality, you settle for less just to fit in. It might provide temporary comfort, but it costs you everything real about yourself. Deep self-belief is built by choosing honesty over approval. It means saying, I'd rather be real than liked. You can't develop real confidence from books or mantras. You build it through experience, by keeping promises to yourself, facing fears, and recovering from failure with grace. Every time you take a step without seeking applause, you strengthen your belief muscle. Self-belief is born from resilience. It grows every time you survive doubt and still move forward. External validation feels good because it gives temporary certainty. Someone praises you and you feel worthy for a moment. Then the feeling fades and you crave more. That's addiction. You start chasing approval instead of progress. You stop asking, is this right for me? You start asking, will people like it? But people's opinions shift constantly. Building your worth on something unstable keeps you anxious and dependent. Deep self-belief is the opposite. It's stable, quiet, and lasting.
To build it, start validating yourself. Notice your progress. Appreciate your efforts. Speak to yourself with respect. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're doing well. Tell yourself. Celebrate wins privately. You don't need an audience to make your growth real. Another step is becoming comfortable being misunderstood. Not everyone will get your path or your dreams or your pace, and that's completely fine. The stronger your belief in yourself, the less you need others to understand. You stop over-explaining your choices. You stop over-justifying your goals. You just live them. Growth sometimes means walking alone, and self-belief gives you the courage to do that without resentment. Comparison is one of the biggest enemies of self-belief. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you disconnect from your own progress. Someone else's success starts to doubt your potential, but no two journeys are identical. They might be ahead in one area and behind in another. Your timeline isn't theirs. Replace comparison with curiosity. Ask, what can I learn from this, instead of, why am I not there yet? That shift turns jealousy into growth. You can't believe in yourself if you keep breaking promises to yourself. Each time you quit early or ignore your goals, you weaken trust in your own word. Self-belief is built on evidence that you follow through, that you keep going, that you handle what life brings. Discipline is the backbone of belief. When you consistently show up for yourself, you no longer need others to tell you you're capable. You already know. Separate validation from feedback. Feedback helps you improve. Validation makes you dependent. Feedback says, here's how you can get better. Validation says, you're only worthwhile if others approve. Healthy people listen to feedback but stay grounded in their worth. They learn from others without losing themselves. They take advice as guidance, not as judgment. People with deep self-belief have a strong inner voice. They speak to themselves differently. Instead of, I can't, they say, I'll figure it out. Instead of, I'm not good enough, they say, I'm getting better. That internal language matters more than anything external. You live inside your own thoughts every day. If those thoughts are negative, no amount of praise can fix it. The most powerful validation is the way you speak to yourself in private. You don't build self-belief by eliminating doubt. You build it by acting through it. Confidence isn't the absence of uncertainty. It's moving forward despite it. Every time you act while scared, you remind yourself that courage is stronger than fear. Each time you take responsibility instead of waiting for others to notice, you grow more independent. The more you rely on action, the less you rely on validation. There's a calmness that comes from self-belief. You stop chasing every opinion. You stop performing for attention. You become centered. That doesn't mean you ignore others. You listen, but you decide. You respect opinions, but prioritize your inner compass. That quiet independence is what separates fulfillment from approval addiction. In a world constantly rewarding appearance over substance, choosing self-belief is an act of rebellion. You're surrounded by systems that measure worth, likes, followers, titles, salaries, but none of them measure peace. Peace comes from knowing who you are when those systems disappear. It's in the moments when you're alone, doing meaningful work without applause, and still feeling proud. That's when you realize your value doesn't need proof. Accepting imperfection is crucial. If your worth depends on being flawless, you'll always feel unworthy. Belief doesn't mean thinking you're perfect. It means knowing you're capable of growth. It's being kind to yourself in progress. It's forgiving your mistakes. It's learning without shame. When you stop judging yourself harshly, you stop needing others to make you feel worthy. The deeper your self-belief, the freer you become. You stop fearing failure because you know it doesn't define you. You stop chasing reassurance because your worth is stable. You stop hiding your opinions because you trust your judgment. That freedom allows you to take more risks, speak more truth, and live more fully. People with that kind of confidence don't seek the spotlight. The light naturally follows them.
Manage your energy. Some days you'll have strength for big leaps. Other days you'll only manage small steps. That's completely okay. Growth isn't about perfection, it's about direction. As long as you're facing forward, you're progressing. What matters most is consistency, showing up in some way every day, no matter how small. There will be seasons when growth feels uncomfortable. That's natural. When you evolve, you shed old versions of yourself. You might outgrow habits, relationships, or environments. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The discomfort you feel is proof evolution is happening. Instead of resisting it, learn to embrace it. It's a sign you're stretching beyond your limits. Nurture your inner dialogue. Growth can't thrive in negativity. You can't evolve if you keep telling yourself it's too late, too hard, too risky. Speak to yourself with encouragement. Believe that progress is possible even when it's slow. The words you use shape the environment inside your mind. Make it a place that supports growth, not one that kills it. Gratitude is a powerful accelerator of evolution. When you appreciate where you are, you build a foundation that supports growth. Growth from gratitude feels light and fulfilling. Growth from comparison feels like pressure. Gratitude keeps your evolution grounded in joy, not desperation. It reminds you that you're already enough, even as you work toward more. You'll know growth has become natural when you stop forcing it. You no longer see improvement as something you must do. It becomes something you simply are. You automatically make better choices. You think more clearly. You handle life with calm. That's what daily evolution creates. Effortless strength built through steady practice. Your relationship with time changes. You stop rushing. You understand that transformation is a rhythm, not a race. Some days bring breakthroughs, others bring lessons. Both matter equally. When you align with that rhythm, peace emerges. You no longer measure worth by speed. You measure it by depth. Evolution isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. Each day removes a layer of fear, doubt, or limitation that hides your potential. You're not fixing yourself, you're uncovering yourself. Growth becomes a return to your natural state, confident, capable, clear. Stay consistent and you'll reach a point where growth feels automatic. You no longer resist learning. You welcome challenge as opportunity. You handle change with ease. That's when you'll know evolution has become part of your identity. It's not something you chase, it's who you are. Life will keep testing that growth through challenges, setbacks, and unexpected turns. But when you've built the habit of daily evolution, you'll handle it all with grace. You'll adjust, learn, and keep moving. Self-belief isn't a one-time decision. It's a lifelong practice. Every day tests your confidence. Some days you'll doubt yourself, and that's okay. Just don't let doubt lead. Keep reinforcing belief through consistent action. Keep choosing authenticity over attention. Keep doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. Each moment adds strength to your foundation. You don't need to be fearless. You just need deep self-belief. Approval may come and go, but belief stays. You stop overreacting to criticism and overvaluing praise. You stay centered through both. That's real strength, stability in constant noise. The loudest approval you'll ever need is the one that comes from within. When you wake up knowing you're living honestly, that's enough. When you can pursue your dreams without constant reassurance, that's enough. When you handle failure with grace because your worth never wavered, that's enough. That's what it means to replace external validation with deep self-belief. Chapter 9. Create life balance that protects your mental fortress. There comes a point when you realize no amount of success, money, or recognition can replace the peace of being mentally intact. You can achieve everything on paper and still feel hollow. You can hit every target and still feel empty. That's not failure, that's burnout, and it's a warning signal you can't afford to ignore. Mental health isn't about avoiding crises. It's about maintaining steady peace and stable strength. Creating balance that protects your mind isn't selfish. It's the difference between surviving and actually living. Balance begins with brutal awareness. You have to notice when your life tilts too far in one direction.
Maybe you're pouring everything into your job and leaving nothing for rest. Maybe you're so focused on caring for others that you've forgotten your own needs. Maybe you've become so obsessed with progress that you've forgotten to breathe. Balance doesn't happen by accident. It's something you build deliberately, choice by choice, day by day. The world rewards speed, but your mind rewards stillness. Constant motion without recovery leads to burnout. When you slow down intentionally, you give your mind space to regenerate. You start thinking clearly again. Ideas flow. Emotions settle. Small problems stop feeling apocalyptic. The healthiest people aren't those who do the most. They're the ones who know when to pause. The main reason people lose balance is guilt. They feel guilty for taking breaks, guilty for saying no, guilty for prioritizing themselves. They believe rest is laziness and productivity equals worthiness. That mindset destroys everything. You don't earn rest by destroying yourself. You deserve it because you're human. Taking care of your mental health doesn't make you less ambitious. It makes you sustainable. You can't give focus, creativity, or kindness from an empty mind. It's impossible. Redefining success is essential. If success only includes achievement and never includes well-being, you'll always feel burned out. Real success is progress that doesn't cost your peace. It's not how much you produce, but how you feel while producing it. It's knowing you can work hard without losing yourself in the process. When you protect your mental health, your work actually improves. A calm mind makes superior decisions. A rested brain solves problems faster. A balanced person performs with clarity instead of chaos. You become more effective, not less. Boundaries are the scaffolding of balance. Without them, everything and everyone demands your time. Learn to say no to what drains you, even if it disappoints people. Learn to disconnect when the day ends. You're not a machine running on infinite power. You don't owe every hour to productivity. Set sacred times for work, rest, connection, and solitude. Protect them like you protect your most important meetings. Boundaries don't limit your life. They give it structure and peace. Create rituals that calm your nervous system, morning routines that ground you, short walks that clear your head, journaling that helps you process emotion, even a few minutes of silence before bed. These moments seem small, but they anchor your mental state. They remind you that life isn't just about productivity, it's about presence. Manage your thoughts, not just your schedule. Many people exhaust themselves mentally without realizing it. They replay worries, they overthink conversations, they carry work stress long after hours. That mental overload destroys peace. Train your mind to let go of what you can't control. Focus on what's in front of you, not everything at once. When your attention scatters everywhere, your peace disappears. When your focus is intentional, your energy stabilizes. The people around you influence your mental balance. Negative, demanding, or draining relationships quietly wear you down. Protect your energy by spending time with people who add calmness, not chaos. Choose conversations that inspire instead of drain. Energy is contagious. Make sure you're catching progress, not complacency. Healthy relationships don't take your energy, they restore it. Create rituals that signal your brain work is over. You can leave the office but still carry stress in your head. Turn off notifications, change clothes, go for a walk. These small cues help your mind switch from performance mode to rest mode. Without them, your nervous system never resets. Stress becomes constant background noise. Be honest about how you feel. Too often, people pretend everything is fine because they fear appearing weak. But silence only deepens stress. Speaking up, seeking help, admitting you're struggling, that's strength. You don't have to fight every battle alone. Support from trusted people or professionals can restore your balance faster than denial ever will. Sometimes balance requires hard decisions. It might mean leaving environments that constantly drain you. It might mean saying no to work that crosses your limits. It might mean letting go of habits that feed anxiety. Those choices hurt at first, but peace always requires protection. You can't heal in the same space that hurts you. It's not about abandoning responsibility, it's about protecting what matters most. Your body and mind are intrinsically connected. If one suffers, the other follows. Sleep, movement, and nutrition directly impact mental clarity. Neglecting your body creates stress your mind must carry. A well-rested body supports a calm mind. That's why balance includes caring for both, not as luxury, but as a requirement. It's tempting to tell yourself that things will improve when life slows down, but balance doesn't wait for better timing. It starts now. In the middle of chaos, you have to create calm within the storm. Balance isn't found, it's made through the daily discipline of choosing what truly matters over what simply demands attention.
The most peaceful people aren't the ones with the least responsibility. They're the ones who know how to manage their energy. They don't give everything to everyone. They know when to push and when to pause. Balance doesn't mean equal time for everything. It means enough time for what keeps you whole. When your mental health is protected, your entire outlook on life transforms. You stop reacting to every stress. You stop overthinking every detail. You start responding with clarity instead of emotion. You become more patient, more grounded, more aware. That state of balance becomes a shield. Balance teaches gratitude. When you slow down enough to breathe and reflect, you start appreciating simple things, quiet mornings, meaningful conversations, moments of rest. Those small experiences bring peace that no achievement can buy. They remind you that you're not just here to produce, you're here to live. There's no single formula for balance. It's personal. It changes as your life changes. Some days balance means resting more. Other days it means focusing harder. What matters is awareness, knowing what you need in that moment and having the courage to honor it. Protecting your mental health isn't about escaping responsibility. It's about creating harmony between what you give and what you keep. You can't sacrifice your peace for progress and expect to feel fulfilled. The two must coexist. You're at your peak when your mind is calm, your emotions are steady, and your energy is directed, not depleted. Your mind is your foundation. Everything you build stands on it. If it cracks, everything else loses meaning. Protect it before it demands your attention through exhaustion or collapse. A healthy mind creates a healthy life. Creating balance is an act of respect. Respect for your body, your emotions, your limits, and your life. It's choosing to live with awareness instead of reaction, peace instead of chaos, and calm strength instead of burnout. The goal isn't to do everything, it's to stay whole while doing what truly matters. Growth doesn't happen in explosive moments. It happens quietly, consistently, through small choices repeated until they become your nature. When you commit to daily evolution, you stop chasing transformation and start living it. Growth becomes less about forcing change and more about building a lifestyle that naturally pulls you toward progress. Your goal is simple. Make growth automatic, as natural as breathing. Every day gives you a chance to evolve. It might be learning something new, handling a problem better than before, or simply being a little kinder, more patient, more focused. You don't need to move mountains, you just need to move yourself forward 1 degree. When you build that habit, growth stops feeling like a burden. It starts feeling like your way of being. Most people struggle with growth because they expect dramatic results fast. They start with fire, but quit when progress feels invisible. Real growth works quietly. It shapes your character behind the scenes. The version of you a year from now is being built right now in tiny decisions you're making today. When you understand this, you stop waiting for breakthroughs. You start valuing daily effort.
You start believing in compound interest applied to character. Let go of perfection. Perfection slows growth because it keeps you trapped in fear of mistakes. But mistakes are growth's best teachers. You don't evolve by getting everything right. You evolve by learning from what goes wrong. Each failure teaches resilience. Every challenge adds strength. That's what makes daily evolution so powerful. It turns ordinary days into education. Awareness is where it begins. You can't grow if you don't know where you stand. Ask yourself simple questions daily. What did I learn today? What can I improve tomorrow? What held me back? These reflections keep you conscious. They prevent autopilot. Awareness creates direction, and direction fuels transformation. Evolution requires patience. In a world that glorifies speed, patience feels archaic, but it's absolutely essential. You can't rush mastery. It demands time. The small steps you take daily, reading a few pages, practicing a skill, staying consistent, might feel insignificant, but they compound into something extraordinary. Growth isn't measured in intensity, it's measured in consistency. When you understand that, you stop comparing your pace to others. You focus on staying steady. Curiosity is one of the keys to natural growth. Curious people evolve faster because they see every situation as a learning opportunity. They ask questions instead of assuming. They stay open to change instead of resisting it. Curiosity keeps your mind flexible and your heart humble. It reminds you that no matter how much you know, there's always more to discover. That mindset keeps evolution alive long after motivation disappears. Stay adaptable. Life keeps changing, and you must change with it. The habits and beliefs that once served you might not serve your next chapter. If you cling to them, you stay stuck. Growth demands renewal. It's the ability to update your mind the way you update your tools. When something stops working, adjust without guilt. Adaptation isn't weakness, it's intelligence in motion. Stay connected to purpose. Without it, routines become just repetition. Purpose gives meaning to your effort. It reminds you why you're evolving in the first place. You're not growing to impress others. You're evolving to fulfill your potential. Every moment of discipline becomes easier when it's tied to something bigger than yourself. Your environment shapes how naturally you grow. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to think bigger, act braver, and live wiser. When you spend time around growth-minded people, it becomes contagious. Their habits influence yours. Their energy reminds you of your own potential. In contrast, staying in environments that resist change makes growth feel unnatural. Choose your circle with intention. It shapes who you become. Evolution becomes effortless when you stop overthinking and start acting. Many people waste energy planning the perfect start instead of just beginning. Clarity comes from doing, not thinking. Each action teaches you what works. Keep moving. Even small daily progress builds confidence, and confidence fuels more growth. Learn to appreciate progress without waiting for perfection. Too often, people ignore their improvements because they're focused on how far they still have to go. But noticing your wins keeps motivation alive. Reflect on your victories, even the small ones. Each one proves you're not who you used to be. That realization builds belief, and belief fuels further evolution. Make growth enjoyable. Find ways to learn that excite you. Experiment with new experiences. Challenge yourself in areas that spark curiosity. Growth doesn't have to be heavy. Sometimes it's about rediscovering joy in learning and progress. When growth feels meaningful and enjoyable, it becomes a lifestyle, not a task. Manage your energy. Some days you'll have strength for big leaps. Other days you'll only manage small steps. That's completely okay. Growth isn't about perfection, it's about direction. As long as you're facing forward, you're progressing. What matters most is consistency, showing up in some way every day, no matter how small. There will be seasons when growth feels uncomfortable. That's natural. When you evolve, you shed old versions of yourself.
You might outgrow habits, relationships, or environments. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The discomfort you feel is proof evolution is happening. Instead of resisting it, learn to embrace it. It's a sign you're stretching beyond your limits. Nurture your inner dialogue. Growth can't thrive in negativity. You can't evolve if you keep telling yourself it's too late, too hard, too risky. Speak to yourself with encouragement. Believe that progress is possible even when it's slow. The words you use shape the environment inside your mind. Make it a place that supports growth, not one that kills it. Gratitude is a powerful accelerator of evolution. When you appreciate where you are, you build a foundation that supports growth. Growth from gratitude feels light and fulfilling. Growth from comparison feels like pressure. Gratitude keeps your evolution grounded in joy, not desperation. It reminds you that you're already enough, even as you work toward more. You'll know growth has become natural when you stop forcing it. You no longer see improvement as something you must do. It becomes something you simply are. You automatically make better choices. You think clearly. You handle life with calm. That's what daily evolution creates. Effortless strength built through steady practice. Your relationship with time changes. You stop rushing. You understand that transformation is a rhythm, not a race. Some days bring breakthroughs, others bring lessons. Both matter equally. When you align with that rhythm, peace emerges. You no longer measure worth by speed. You measure it by depth. Evolution isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. Each day removes a layer of fear, doubt, or limitation that hides your potential. You're not fixing yourself. You're uncovering yourself. Growth becomes a return to your natural state, confident, capable, clear. Stay consistent, and you'll reach a point where growth feels automatic. You no longer resist learning. You welcome challenge as opportunity. You handle change with ease. That's when you'll know evolution has become part of your identity. It's not something you chase, it's who you are. Life will keep testing that growth through challenges, setbacks, and unexpected turns. But when you've built the habit of daily evolution, you'll handle it all with grace. You'll adjust, learn, and keep moving.